First up, celebrities turn personality into property. MS Dhoni makes Captain Cool his own. Celebrity brands go beyond movies, matches and music. And we take you to our next story. Sky's not the limit for Dr. Shraddha Chauhan. Dreams outrun age. Fear didn't stand a chance, and we bring you a conversation with the octogenarian who took on the sky. All right, and then we take you to this Thane teen who is an inspiration. He beat illness and he has gotten into IIT. His story is one of coming from relatively simple backgrounds, but also someone who was sick again and again. He was a young boy who was sick in class 11, sick in class 12, and still he has surmounted those odds. Today he is a student of IIT and he joins us, but he also tells us importantly what he thinks needs to change in the system. And then we go to the world of entertainment. This is your lowdown. Naseeruddin Shah seemingly deleting a post, but is still standing very much with Diljit Dosanjh. Shefali Jariwala's untimely death and the investigation that's followed after that. Also, the legal row with Akshay Paresh Rawal. All of this in Hera Fairy 3. We bring you a lowdown. It's a cover of everything that's happened in this last week. And then after that, your favorite, thank God it's Friday. Urban love stories in the metro and what else you can watch in theatres, in cinemas. Kaveri brings you the lowdown. Our first story today is one that we thought was really interesting. In today's world of viral memes, deep fakes, knockoff merchandise, celebrities are more and more scrambling to legally own every single bit of what makes them iconic. Be it everything from a nickname, a catchphrase that they're known for saying, even their childhood name, to lyrics in their songs, to phrases that they've said. And Mahinder Singh Dhoni is just the latest to join into this pack. Now, reportedly, this trademark is actually one that he'd been trying to apply for a while. And it is Captain Cool. It's not Thala, as we were telling you earlier. It's not other nicknames that he's known by. So how does someone of that kind of stature decide which nickname that he wants to trademark? What goes on behind trademarking a name? And what does trademarking a name actually do for it? To break that and more, especially because Dhoni is just one example in multiple celebrities, and he's just an example of what celebrity culture is today. There is Shah Rukh Khan, Virat Kohli, Beyonce, Taylor Swift. They've all trademarked various things, not just their names, other things too. But what does it signal? Is it a new era of personality rights in India's celebrity ecosystem? Are these just celebrities who are getting more and more aware of a global trend that's already existed? To break this down with us, we have with us brand guru Dilip Cherian. He's with us this morning on the show. Let's just go over to him to understand more. Dilip, good morning. Thank you for joining us here on the show. Lovely to have you. We were just showing our audiences the difference between... All right, we'll check your voice. We're not being able to hear you. You might be on mute. Just check that out for yourself.
No, I'm...
Oh,
okay.
Perfect. We can hear you now. Okay.
Thank you.
So, sir, tell us first. I just want to ask you, we were playing out for our audiences what the difference between a trademark and a patent and a copyright, and obviously you also have a slightly different, but what a GI tag is. All of these are ways for a person or an entity to say, this phrase is mine. But Dilip, tell our audiences, how should we understand trademarks? Is it better to understand them as protective or as money-making? So does a celebrity usually go out there and trademark their phrase because they want to be the only ones to be able to use it? Or is it so that other brands can use it and they can get paid? Because we were looking at reports of, for example, a celebrity back in the 80s in the US making $400 million of his phrase, let's get ready to rumble. It was used in the WWE. Over the years, he made $400 million, which is insane. So is that the way to look at it, or protective? How do you see it?
You know, it's really what I would call hope generation. That is, it is hoping that a phrase will get popular in a domain outside of which the actor or the person copywriting it is using it. So the real revenue comes not from your own usage of it and the protection that you get saying this phrase is mine, but it is really that if others use it, they are using my phrase. So that's where the real money comes from. So in many senses, the hope of revenue is why people do this. Now, clearly, you can't do too many in your name because neither will the courts protect you, nor will you be able to get too much by revenue. So it's got to be something like a phrase, like a particular kind of action combined with the phrase, which is a mnemonic for who you are, which stands for who you are. The moment you do that, when people use the phrase, they begin to see you there, and therefore you are entitled to a payment. That people can understand that here is a person whose actions or whose logo or whose pet combination of colors, it can be a whole bunch of things, stands for who the person is and what that denotes or connotes to the consumer. You're paying for consumer value that somebody else is deriving out of using the combination which you, in a sense, copyrighted.
So I love what you've touched on, Dilip, because you've said that it's not always a name. Sometimes it's even a phrase. Obviously, in Mahinder Singh Dhoni's case, we're talking about Captain Cool. But in other cases, it's a phrase, it's a lyric. And that takes us to our next question. I want to ask you, Dilip, you often talk about your young daughters when you join us on the show. I think it might be...
Granddaughters.
Yeah, I was going to say it might be granddaughter. And you've talked about how they are sometimes onto something. So speaking of Gen Z preferences, I want to bring up Taylor Swift now and ask you. Taylor Swift, according to some reports, has 300 plus trademarks, and they aren't just her name, they're also song lyrics, and song lyrics as inconspicuous as she has the lyric "this sick beat," 3 words that she has trademarked. The other thing that she does is she preemptively trademarks. So before a phrase has been associated with her, and you'll have her fans actually go through court filings to see, oh, could this phrase actually give us a clue of what's to come? Dilip, is there a limit to trademarking? Do you think that trademarking in the US may be pushing insane lines, 300 trademarks with one person, one company, or no, do you think that's just the future?
My youngest granddaughter, who's Gen Alpha actually, and she never ceases to remind me about that, believes that she can spot a phrase of that kind which works for her, and a particular Italian version of brain rot is what she ascribes it to. And the thing is that you can, in an American court, go and enforce a whole bunch of things. Can that happen in India? If you ask me, fortunately not, and hopefully not yet for a while. But this preemptive branding for lyrics works with singers. So now Dhoni and Captain Cool can work up to a point till Captain Brilliant comes along, or the best captain of all times, and you could put it a BCOAT. So I'm saying if somebody were to come out with a different combination, and it were to be backed by someone as successful as a Dhoni, which is very unlikely, it's a what I would call a rare event, then somebody else could actually sit on that similar kind of trademark, and then they tend to cannibalize each other.
Yeah.
So Taylor Swift's advantage is the phenomenal, supernormal, astronomical size of her fan base, and therefore the idea of trademarking or watermarking lyrics before they come onto the stage is something that applies for her. Does that apply for more people? Infinitesimally small number of people. A king could do it, but a king does not need to do it. A true king. Okay, but other than that, I think it's very difficult to allow for or expect courts to give you protection, because people will now come up with ridiculous sub
Yeah.
versions and try and mimic this, but that won't work. I think the level of fame and popularity associated with someone who's trying to mnemonikize their special skill or their special turn of phrase would work. Like, for example, a lot of people refer to me as image guru.
Yes.
Now, beyond image guru, there will be a whole bunch of people in marketing guru, various things. But if you moved first and created over a period of time, and I don't claim to own anything because that's not the way I work, but I think once people recognize you for what you are, the moment that's used, that conjures you up, and that's the cool part of it.
So, Mr. Cherian, can we ask you one last question? Reddit is filled with people right now saying that MS Dhoni going ahead and copywriting, trademarking his name, that takes away the cool. They're saying it's cringe. Many are saying, Arey, this is the opposite of Captain Cool. And I want to ask you, does it in a way take something away from the public when you trademark something?
I think that I tend to believe that this kind of thing probably predetermines the kind of campaigns he will be associated with. So wait to see a few ads in the future which will have Captain Cool in the endorsement composition of whatever they do. Unless cash becomes cringe, this works for Dhoni.
All right. So you're still giving your thumbs up, but I loved the sort of future perspectives you were looking at in this story, where you said right now that kind of over preemptive trademarking hasn't happened in India, luckily, but it might come in the future. Mr. Cherian, thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you for bringing us your perspective on this story.
Pleasure.
Okay, we're taking you now to something very different. We're going to be shifting tracks slightly right now to something very different. In the last few days, we have been talking about a particular kind of panic that is growing across the country, and we wanted to, on the Breakfast Club, check in with the very highest authorities on this. This is the alarming number of sudden heart attacks that we've been seeing. This is a topic that we addressed a few days ago, but it was too important for us not to address again. Many are asking this single question: is the COVID vaccine playing a role in the heart attacks that we're seeing? In Karnataka's Hassan, so right now we're showing you an image of Shefali Jariwala, but she's just one of multiple people in their 30s and 40s who have suddenly had heart attacks. But even if we take you down to Hassan, it's one district that has seen multiple cases, 21 people getting heart attacks in 40 days. And these were all young people, or rather most of them were young people. A person as young as 19, a new mother. And that is what has led, frankly, to some hysteria in certain districts where there's this question: is this linked to the vaccine? Is it not? So we thought, let's go to the very top to decode this for you. India's foremost cardiologist, chairman and managing director of Medanta, Dr. Naresh Trihan, he's with us live to separate the noise from the science. Let's just go over to him. Dr. Trihan, thank you for joining us here on the Breakfast Club. Doctor, we thought it was so important for our show to touch on this question today because there is so much that's coming in terms of audience questions around it. So, firstly, the situation in Hassan in particular, this one district in Karnataka, lots of cases where you have heart attacks and young people in particular. How do you analyze it?
See, there is irresponsibility when you start speculating on somebody's death without the proper data.
Right.
Now, question is that we have addressed the issue of vaccine being a common denominator for heart attacks. That has not been shown. That's not our experience, and that ICMR studies that were done quite extensively showed very clearly that there was no correlation between heart attacks and vaccine. Yes, it is true that because of COVID and the COVID virus had actually affected every organ of our body by way of inflammation in the arteries, that we saw that patients we had a very large number of patients we treated in Medanta, that patients who had severe COVID actually had inflammation in their heart about 20% of the time. So we have well documented it. It did affect their heart function. But fortunately, over a period of time with proper treatment, they recovered, most of them. But the people who had pre-existing heart disease or people who had pre-existing comorbidities were actually the ones who lost their lives. So this controversy being raised against the vaccine, there is no proof. In fact, it was studied quite extensively. So what we believe in the medical profession is that it's very hard pressed to make any connection between the vaccination and incidence of heart attack. Yes, as I told you, some of it could be because of COVID virus, not because of the vaccine.
Okay, so doctor, if our viewers watching right now were to ask you, what kind of checkups does one need in this kind of situation to protect themselves? Because there's this fear, as you've talked about, that younger Indians are having these issues in particular. So if anyone watching right now wants to protect themselves, because you are saying it's not, let me just clarify, you are saying it's not related to the vaccine, but yes, those who had severe COVID can still see the effects in their heart. What kind of checkups can you do?
So the general checkup that I talked about would include your blood tests, which will tell you whether you have any abnormality in your lipid profile. Lipid profile is what the fat content in your blood is. Whether you have any liver problems or kidney problems. Okay. Second, it will tell you that there is because of the chest X-ray, it will tell you if there is any abnormality there, and the ultrasound of the abdomen will tell you if there is anything abnormal in your gut.
Right.
On top of that, we do an echocardiography. An echocardiography will tell you, one, the function of your heart, whether there are any abnormalities in it, whether there are any inborn, like congenital abnormalities in it. So these are the things that you need to do to understand that you are not carrying a risk factor in you which you are unaware of. Okay, so when you do a stress test will, at least with 80% accuracy, tell you that is there any existing blockages in your arteries? Is there any irregular heartbeat which you can become a victim of? So these are things that you can provoke. It's still not 100%. Because of the fact that still things can happen which are in a normal heart and a normal person can happen. And now, as I told you, that there are so many other factors. Lifestyle diseases, consumption of toxic material. All these things can cause problems. So that's why it is unfair to say blaming one event that could have caused everybody's death. So did they know? And that's what I'm trying to say, that if one does it seriously, one should, all the shocking deaths that we have seen, one should compile all the post-mortem reports on all of them. And then do some deduction.
I know, doctor, that you also always say that stress, fighting stress, getting good sleep, eating healthy, these are also cornerstone pillars apart from getting the tests done. And doctor, we're not yet done, so we do want to ask you a few more questions around this. We do want to understand a little bit more. You've said already that there are multiple checkups that one needs to get, that checkups, just stopping at checkups is not enough. But I do want to ask you, doctor, there is this feeling that we all get that more young Indians than ever before are susceptible to this. Is that just a feeling? Is that a paranoia? Or around you, are you genuinely seeing more cases of young Indians?
No. It's absolutely correct. I just gave you the example. You don't see these things developing, or we didn't see it even 20 years ago. I came back from America 30 years ago. You didn't see the age profile. We knew that Indians get heart disease 10 years before the Caucasian is referring to European and American population, that we do have a tendency, because I said that we have a genetic propensity for it. But it was rare to see heart attacks between the age of 30 and 40. It was 40 to 50 was very common, and because in the West, as I said, it's usually 50 to 60 and above that you get heart attacks. Now I'm seeing in the last 10 years, even younger people in their late 20s, early 30s getting critical coronary artery disease. Now, also not to discount, excuse me, also not to discount that the coronary artery disease is not the only type of disease. See, I'll tell you that there are people who have what we call congenital heart disease. That is very well known as hole in the heart. Okay. Then you have cardiomyopathies, where your heart muscle either becomes dilated or ineffective, or it becomes thick, and they have their own dangers. So that's what I'm saying. By the age of 25, if we detect something, we can prevent many tragedies in the future.
Okay, your point is test early essentially, and as you've told us again and again in the past, to stress, sleep, these are the things you need to be very, very particular about. Dr. Trehan, thank you for joining us here on The Breakfast Club. Thank you for telling our audience what there is to look out for and what one shouldn't be worried about. We're going to be heading into a quick break. On the other side, it's time for some inspiring people. It's a Friday, and we thought it's so important to set you off on your weekend with people who we genuinely feel are incredible. We have for you Dr. Shraddha Chauhan. She is a octogenarian who decided that she is going to do some skydiving. She joins us, and one more inspiring individual, a young boy called Harsh, joins us on the other side.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Good evening, Isa Suarez. Thank you for having me. Yes, in fact, we are all devastated about this news. My first words is going directly to the family of Diogo Jota. And of course, this is a very sad moment, and in fact is a shock for everyone. You can see it, what Diogo Jota represents in the football world. Not just in Portugal, but also international. We can see a lot of presidents and directors and colleagues talking about him. There is two sides in a football player. You can valorate it, his own career that starts in Portugal in youth development. After he was able to have the strength to become a senior player, especially in Passos Ferreira and in Porto. He was alone 2 times to Spain, to Athletic Madrid, and finally, and I think is all the dream of any player, is try to go into Premier League. And he was able to have impact in Wolverhampton for 2 years. And finally, he was able, to go to a massive club where I also play there, that he was Liverpool. I believe that Liverpool, you're going to deal it in a proper way, in a proper matter about this situation. Liverpool is a resilient club, the same way Diogo Jota, showed during all his career. For that reason, you can see it, that the mentality that you have in England, what concerns football, it's great. The valors that all the clubs make statements about this situation of Diogo Jota. Everybody's touched emotionally. Yeah. Here in Portugal, we saw also the president of the country, prime ministers as well, all the identities of sporting. He was talking about Diogo Jota. In England himself, the prime minister, the ministers as well, all the clubs sending statements, That means that he was not just a football player. He was a special human being. And you can see it through all his career, his attitude, his behave, his dedication. He was unbelievable.
And Nabel, you are absolutely right. He was deeply loved in Liverpool. He was deeply loved in my home country of Portugal as well. And he was also, and I think this is important, a brilliant player, a prolific goal scorer, very clever in that box. Can you speak to that?
Yes, Isa. We can now try to valorate Diogo Jota by his skills, by his technical abilities, by his tactic abilities. But when Jurgen Klopp saw something more than just this kind of values, I think that the human side, he make more than one player. You know, because before a player, there is the man. And I think that every time that Diogo Jota, he was not able to play in the first team and he was in the bench, every time he come on and every time he come on with a very positive and impact in the field. You know, that means that all the values of obedience, acceptation of decisions, you know, try to be very professional, very disciplinary. You know, that is the human side. That is the side of a person who wants to help, you want to collaborate it, and you want to grow with the team. For that reason, you can see it also in the Portugal national team. You know, we have a tremendous quality in front. I know, and Diogo Jota, every time when he come on, you know, he produced something special. He produced something unique, and his definition, its goal score rates, you know, it's unbelievable. And there is also a special value in Diogo Jota. Many of the times that he was injured, and he have severe injuries throughout his career, he was able to
Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. Let's now take you to stories that are happening in India and around the world. First, Shubman Gill. He scripted history on Thursday by becoming the first Indian skipper to score a double century in England. The 25-year-old stamped his authority over England with a 269-run knock to put India in the driver's seat. Shubman was under the scanner as a batter before the start of the series, but this added captaincy responsibility has seemingly worked in his favour. And Jasprit Bumrah's absence from the second Anderson Tendulkar Trophy test is something which is very hard to believe. With India 1-0 down in the 5-match series, Bumrah has been rested from the match due to workload management issues. Akashdeep is taking his place in the playing 11. At toss, Captain Shubman Gill revealed the Indian management felt Lords will offer Bumrah more familiar conditions to exceed. But we are missing Bumrah. And Pakistan's hockey teams have got the Indian government's clearance to travel for the Men's Asia Cup in August and the Junior World Cup in November-December. After Operation Sindoor, cross-border tension between the two neighbours, there was a lot of uncertainty over the participation of Pakistan in this tournament because obviously it's being hosted by India. But in this, India and Pakistan don't play bilateral series, and we're just going to bring you more context because this is obviously a big, big nod. And archaeologists unveiled on Thursday a 3,500-year-old city in Peru that likely served as a trading hub linking Pacific Coast cultures with those in the Andes and the Amazon, flourishing around the same time as early civilizations in the Middle East and Asia. Drone footage, just take a look at that, released by researchers. It shows the city centers marked by, we'll just go back to that, circular structures on a hillside terrace, remains of stone and mud buildings, all of this constructed high above sea level. This area you're looking at, it's named Penico, and it's located in the northern Barranca province. It was founded between, just wait for it, 1800 and 1500 BC. And if you are a fan of Wonderwall, maybe you're going to be the one that saved me. We are so excited to tell you that fans are excited as thousands are readying themselves to see the band reunite. It's called one of the UK's greatest bands. The Oasis's Live 25 tour opens in Cardiff today, and it comes almost 15 years after the band split due to a feud between the two brothers right at the centre. We're of course talking about Liam and Noel Gallagher. Fans waited long hours in virtual lines to get their hands on tickets. The tour was first announced only to find that prices has been hiked, much to everyone's irritation. But maybe it is finally time for the Wonderwall. And a Superman sculpture rose nearly 1,000 feet above London at the Shard on Tuesday ahead of the release of the new Superman film. Stars of the highly anticipated movie that has a new lead. They attended a special fan event in London's Leicester Square. Actor David Corenswet, he has taken on the charge and many are loving his chemistry with other actors. He was there, as you can see. James Gunn also explained the film's themes. He's the director. As usual, you have David playing the journalist Clark Kent, who, remember, has the alter ego of Superman. Everyone is really, really excited to see if he can actually fill the boots of Henry Cavill. All right, our next guest. It's time for Person of Interest, and it's Friday. So we thought we had to get you something that would leave you with a sense of inspiration heading into the weekend. So we're starting out with a 80-year-old woman, because at 80, most people are slowing down. But Dr. Shraddha Chauhan decided to speed things up by jumping out of a plane at 10,000 feet. We thought we had to bring her on. She was battling vertigo. There's been some spondylitis, even prolapsed spinal discs. But she has become India's oldest woman to perform a tandem skydive. And it wasn't just a record, but for her, it seems like it was even her fulfilling a childhood dream. And what's even more interesting is that she was joined by her son, who's a decorated army officer, Brigadier Saurabh Singh Shekhawat. He jumped with her. And we actually thought we should have them both on the show. So we're very, very excited to have them. They remind us that courage isn't about a birth certificate, your age, none of that. Let's go over to both of them to understand more. Doctor, we'll come to you first, and then we'll come over to your son in just a second. So, Doctor, if we could ask you first, was it your dream since childhood? Is this something you sort of knew you wanted to do since you were very young?
हाँ, बचपन में था सपना मेरा कि मैं भी उड़ूं, जैसे हवाई जहाज उड़ते बच्चे। हम लोग तो बहुत पुराने 45 का जन्म है मेरा, तो बाद में देखती थी हमें भी उड़ना चाहिए, और स्वप्न में भी देखती थी कि मैं आकाश से कूद रही हूँ। लेकिन वो सपना सच हो जाएगा ये आशा नहीं थी। वो सपना सच करवाया सौरभ ने और इसकी स्काई हाई की जो टीम है, इन लोगों ने। तो इन्होंने बहुत अच्छी प्रिपरेशन कराई मुझे, और मैं सफलतापूर्वक निडर होकर के मैंने इस उम्र में भी जो है ये जंप किया। और अब आप सब लोग, सभी टीम वाले मुझे जो है आकाश में ही उड़ाए जा रहे हैं, ये बड़ी अच्छी बात है। जमीन पे रहते हुए भी मैं आकाश में उड़ रही हूँ।
बार बार आपकी फोटो दिखा के। ब्रिगेडियर, आपसे भी हम एक दो मिनट में प्रश्न पूछेंगे, बट आई जस्ट वांट टू गो बैक टू द डॉक्टर फॉर अ सेकंड। हमें ये बताइए डॉक्टर कि मतलब फोटोज़ को देख के तो बहुत डर लगता है, ऐसे लगता है कि हम तो कभी नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो व्हाट वुड यू हैव टू से उन लोगों को जिनमें अभी भी थोड़ा डर है, हम तो नहीं कर पाएंगे स्काई डाइविंग, उनसे आप क्या कहेंगे?
डरने की आवश्यकता नहीं है। अगर आपका इंस्ट्रक्टर और ट्रेनर बहुत अच्छा है, एक्सपीरियंस्ड है, तो डरने की आवश्यकता नहीं है, क्योंकि करना तो जो है उसको है। जो आपका इंस्ट्रक्टर है उसको सब कुछ करना है, आपको तो केवल इंस्ट्रक्शंस फॉलो करने हैं, और वो ईमानदारी से करना है बस। और सब ईश्वर पर छोड़ दीजिए और अपने ट्रेनर पर विश्वास रखिए। विश्वास बहुत बड़ी चीज है, डर को भगा देती है।
All right, अब हम जाते हैं आपके बेटे की तरफ। Brigadier, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Brigadier, tell us from your side, your experience, because you also did this with her. When did this idea come to her? What was your first thought when it did?
I came into Civil Street and I started jumping at Sky High. I took up the mentorship and the appointment of chief instructor. So that time on 12th July, while we were celebrating World Skydiving Day, she asked that, can I also do this? तो मैंने कहा बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं, बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं। तो बस तब से इनको लगा कि करना चाहिए, और फिर अभी बर्थडे 1 जुलाई को बर्थडे सेलिब्रेट किया तो जम किया मदर ने।
बहुत ही कूल है आपकी माँ। कैन यू टेल अस, आप नर्वस थे आपके अंदर? were you a little nervous, afraid maybe that something could happen, or no, were you totally confident?
नो, ऐसा कोई डर नहीं लगा, क्योंकि हवा में कुछ नहीं होता है। हवा में टैंडम इंस्ट्रक्टर की कैपेबिलिटी होती है कि कैसे वो स्टेबलाइज करेगा। तो मम्मा योग वगैरह करती हैं तो उससे शरीर सफल है। तो मुझे पता था कि ये आर्च बना लेंगी फटाफट निकलते ही एयरक्राफ्ट से। और वही सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट होता है कि जैसे ही आर्च बनता है, आप देख रहे हैं एयरक्राफ्ट में, तो ये जो ड्रोग ऊपर उड़ रहा है, ये अगर आपने आर्च नहीं बनाया और स्टूडेंट ने गड़बड़ कर दी तो उल्टे पुल्टे हो जाते हैं। तो मम्मा ने आर्च बनाया। वो टैंडम इंस्ट्रक्टर की कैपेबिलिटी होती है कि वो कैसा भी सिचुएशन को सॉल्व कर लेगा। बट मम्मा ने पोजीशन अच्छी बनाई और लैंडिंग करते वक्त टैंडम इंस्ट्रक्टर की जो है काबिलियत की वो लैंड स्मूथ कराए, तो स्मूथ लैंडिंग हुई। और उसमें सिर्फ इतना होता है कि आपको अपनी कोर मसल्स को इस्तेमाल करना होता है, पाँवों को थोड़ा सा ऊपर रखना होता है ताकि टैंडम इंस्ट्रक्टर के पाँव पहले इम्पैक्ट लें। तो मम्मा ने किया और स्मूथ लैंडिंग हुई हमारी।
I love that you just said कि आपकी माँ योगा करती है and उसके वजह से she is so fit. Doctor, we need to come to you and ask you now. Many times जब लोग कूदते हैं, they get a little confused. They are scared. आपका, tell us a little bit about it. आपका, what was your first thought when you started, when you just jumped? What was your first thought?
बर्थडे वाले दिन नहीं, ये तो बहुत पहले की बात है, शायद पिछले अगस्त
जब आपने पहली बार सोचा कि स्काई डाइविंग
इनके स्काई हाई जो ये करते हैं डाइविंग का कोर्स कराते हैं, स्काई हाई इंडिया, तो वहाँ पर एक प्रोग्राम था। माननीय मंत्री जी आए थे, गजेंद्र सिंह शेखावत, तो उनसे मैं मिलने गई थी उनसे, और वहाँ देखा तो मैंने सौरभ से कहा, सौरभ भाई मैं भी कर सकती हूँ क्या इस उम्र में? तो बोला मम्मी क्यों नहीं कर सकती हो? तो मैंने कहा ठीक है। फिर इसने कहा, मैंने कहा करा देंगे, देखेंगे। मेरे मन में फिर तो मैं भूल भाल गई, अब ये तो मेरी उम्र का तकाजा है कि मैं भूल जाती हूँ। तो लेकिन इसने फिर जब बर्थडे आया तो इसने कहा मम्मी करोगी? मैंने कहा हाँ करूँगी। तो ये हम लोगों ने दोनों माँ बेटों के बीच में गुपचुपी रही बात, परिवार में नहीं बताया किसी को भी। तो फिर हमने चुपचाप अपनी ट्रेनिंग करी, सौरभ चुपचाप से मुझे कराता था, और बाद में लीक आउट किया तो थोड़ा विरोध भी हुआ मेरे पतिदेव की तरफ से, मेरे छोटे बेटे की तरफ से। मम्मी क्या कर रही? इन्होंने भी कहा क्या कर रही? मैंने कहा कुछ नहीं, अब कर रहे हैं, सौरभ के साथ करेंगे सब देखेंगे।
All right, can we just ask very quickly your son once again? आपके बेटे से पूछेंगे, Brigadier, when it comes to practice process, आपने अपनी माँ का साथ दिया है, you were with her. Is that normal? Can a family member be the instructor?
Yeah, it's absolutely normal. I am an instructor. Any tandem instructor can take his family member or family member. Just no issue.
Okay, let's go over to Dr. Shraddha and ask her, what's your message, ma'am, for other women?
मैसेज आ रहे हैं लोगों के, मदर भी करना चाहती हैं, कैसे करेंगी पहने? मैं उनको बताती हूँ भाई करें, जाएं और बात करें और अच्छे कॉन्फिडेंस से करो। मैंने करके दिखाई दिया।
एंड आखिरी प्रश्न हम एक्चुअली आपके बेटे से पूछेंगे, ब्रिगेडियर, व्हाट आर योर फ्यूचर प्लान्स फॉर योर मदर?
शरीर को स्वस्थ रखना और ऐसे ही परिवार को सपोर्ट करना, यही मम्मी का प्लान है।
Amazing. Thank you, Brigadier, and thank you, Dr. Shraddha, for joining us. Okay, we're not yet done with giving you inspiration this Friday morning. Thank you both for joining us. Let's take you now to something entirely different. We're taking you now to a young boy who is battling illness in class 11, but today he has made it to IIT Roorkee. And his story is one that we thought is incredible. It's a story of sheer perseverance, determination. That's him with his father. It's also a story of pursuing your dreams. He comes from Thane in Maharashtra. Harsh Gupta is going to be joining us in just a second. Unwavering focus, absolutely. He pushed through all of the odds, and today he is in the hallowed halls of IIT. Let's just go over to him. Harsh, tell us your story. आपकी कहानी क्या है? Tell us कि हुआ क्या क्लास 11 में, क्लास 12 में, उसके बारे में पहले, then we'll ask you more.
मैम, मेरा नाम हर्ष संतोष गुप्ता है। मैं कल्याण शहर थाने डिस्ट्रिक्ट से आता हूँ। मैंने अपनी जेईई की प्रिपरेशन 11th क्लास की एंडिंग में शुरू करी थी। ड्यू टू हेल्थ कंडीशंस मैं प्रिपेयर कर नहीं पाया और पेपर दे नहीं पाया, तो मैं 11th क्लास में फेल हो गया था। एंड मैंने 11th रिपीट करी एंड 11th 12th में तैयारी करी। 12th में भी मेरा सिलेक्शन नहीं हो पाया, मेरा सिलेक्शन NIT में हो गया था विथ 98.59 परसेंटाइल, बट मेरा हमेशा से सपना IIT जाने का था और इस साल मेरा एडमिशन IIT रुड़की में हो रहा है।
Harsh, that's amazing. Tell us, अभी आपने कहा that you were dealing with sickness, your body was feeling weak. What kind of sickness did you have? अगर आप comfortable हो बताने में।
मैम एक्चुअली बचपन से ही इंटेस्टाइन से रिलेटेड एक प्रॉब्लम थी जो कि डाइजेशन और काफ़ी चीज़ों में दिक्कत देती थी, जिस वजह से हॉस्टल के खाने में काफ़ी दिक्कत होती थी मुझे कि डाइजेशन प्रॉपर नहीं हो पाता था और हेल्थ काफ़ी ख़राब होती थी। डॉक्टर कई बार बोलते थे आप घर चले जाइए, प्रिपरेशन रोक दीजिए, जिस वजह से मेरी प्रिपरेशन काफ़ी ख़राब हो जाती थी थ्रू आउट द ईयर।
हर्ष, जस्ट एक्सप्लेन कि आपके डे टू डे में कैसा फ़र्क पड़ता था बिकॉज ऑफ दैट।
लाइक 12th में JEE मेंस के 3 महीने पहले मेरी तबीयत काफ़ी ख़राब होने लगी। मुझे टीचर्स ने और डॉक्टर्स ने बोला कि आप बेड रेस्ट कीजिए घर पर। मैं घर आ गया और मेरी प्रिपरेशन छूट सी गई। मुझे आज भी याद है, पेपर के जस्ट 1 महीने पहले मैंने अपने सर को कॉल किया और उन्हें ये सारी चीज़ें बताई। उन्होंने मुझे काफ़ी सपोर्ट किया। उन्होंने कहा कि देखो, तुम्हारी प्रायोरिटी अभी हेल्थ होनी चाहिए क्योंकि हेल्थ से ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट कोई चीज़ नहीं है, तो तुम हो सके तो पढ़ाई अभी पॉज कर दो और हेल्थ पर फोकस करो। बट मेरे मन में था कि नहीं, मुझे करना है, तो मैंने उन हेल्थ कंडीशंस के साथ विद इन 1 मंथ तैयारी करी और JEE मेंस क्रैक किया। जबकि शायद टीचर्स को भी उस टाइम पर विश्वास नहीं था क्योंकि मैं काफ़ी अच्छा स्टूडेंट था, बट प्रिपरेशन छूटने की वजह से सारी चीज़ें ख़राब हो गई थी। एंड उस टाइम पे मेरे नंबर जब मैंने टेस्ट दिए तो 90-100 मार्क्स आ रहे थे, जबकि अच्छे नंबर माने जाते 180 प्लस। मैंने 20-25 दिन के अंदर प्रिपरेशन करके वो स्कोर हासिल किया।
Wow, Harsh, can you tell us one thing? Advice, because आप जैसे there are other students who might be going through health issues, for example, in class 9, in class 10, in class 11 and 12 as you did. What's your advice to students?
जी मैम, स्टूडेंट्स के लिए ये कि आपकी जो कंडीशन है, हेल्थ कंडीशन स्पेशली आपके हाथ में नहीं है, तो आपको उस चीज़ को एक्सेप्ट करके आगे मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ उस पर ध्यान देना चाहिए और अपनी प्रिपरेशन को चालू रखना चाहिए बिना सोचे कि लोग क्या कहेंगे, क्योंकि वो सारी चीज़ें आपके हाथ में नहीं है। आपके हाथ में है मेहनत, आपको मेहनत करनी चाहिए उस चीज़ के लिए।
राइट। एंड हर्ष, टेल अस, आपके परिवार में हु सपोर्टेड यू?
मैम, मेरी फैमिली में मम्मी पापा और 2 छोटे भाई और दादी है। थ्रू आउट दी मेरी जर्नी मुझे मोशन कोटा में मैंने पढ़ाई करी, तो अंडर द गाइडेंस ऑफ NV सर, उन्होंने काफ़ी मुझे बताया कि कैसे पढ़ना है, क्या करना है। और मम्मी पापा का काफ़ी सपोर्ट रहा क्योंकि मम्मी पापा पानी पूरी की दुकान लगाते हैं, तो काफ़ी दिक्कत आती थी फाइनेंशियली, बट उन्होंने कभी भी ये नहीं कहा कि आप अपनी पढ़ाई छोड़ दो या पढ़ना छोड़ दो। उन्होंने हमेशा से ये कहा कि आपको जो करना है वो करो। मेरे मम्मी पापा को तो शायद IIT का मतलब भी नहीं पता था, बट उन्हें विश्वास था कि बच्चा है, पढ़ने में अच्छा है, उसे करना है तो करने देते हैं। मम्मी पापा, छोटे भाई, स्पेशली मैं अपने छोटे भाई को थैंक्स बोलना चाहूँगा। मेरे यहाँ नहीं रहने पर उसने शॉप के सारे काम, अपनी पढ़ाई, सारी चीज़ें मैनेज करी।
अच्छा, हमें ये बताओ, आप अभी IIT में क्या पढ़ रहे हो एंड इसके बाद का जो सपना है वो क्या है आपका?
मैम, मुझे IIT में जियो फिजिकल टेक्नोलॉजी ब्रांच मिली है। मेरा सपना आगे चल के सिविल सर्विसेज एंड सोशल वर्क में, क्योंकि मुझे काफ़ी लगता है बचपन से लेकर मुझ जैसे स्टूडेंट को शायद स्कूल या कहीं से हेल्प नहीं मिल पाई, तो उन स्टूडेंट के लिए वर्क करना है। मे बी अगर सिविल सर्विसेज नहीं भी हो पाया तो मैं सोशल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के साथ काम करना पसंद करूँगा।
अभी आपने वही कहा हर्ष, दैट यू वांट टू बिल्ड थिंग्स फॉर अदर स्टूडेंट्स। सो क्या है ये चीज़ें that you want to build for other students across the country?
जी, स्कूल एंड कॉलेजेस में टीचर्स का सपोर्ट, लाइक मुझे बचपन से लेकर अभी तक फाइनेंशियली तो नहीं, बट गाइडेंस, टीचर्स, फ्रेंड्स काफ़ी अच्छे मिले। और चेंजेस की बात करें तो जो स्कॉलरशिप्स प्रोग्राम गवर्नमेंट निकालती है वो काफ़ी स्टूडेंट तक कई बार पहुंच नहीं पाती। उन स्टूडेंट्स तक वो बातें पहुंचनी चाहिए ताकि वो अच्छा कर सके और डिजर्विंग कैंडिडेट जो है उन्हें वो सारी चीज़ें फैसिलिटीज़ ईजिली अवेल कर सके वो।
ओके हर्ष, आपकी कहानी तो बहुत ही इंस्पायरिंग है, बट वी डू वांट टू आस्क यू, कोई भी अगर सरकार की तरफ से पॉलिसी मेकर्स हु आर वाचिंग दिस शो टुडे, वाचिंग यू, व्हाट्स अ कॉन्क्रीट सजेशन दो आप जो आप देना चाहते हैं उन्हें एक बदलाव के लिए?
मैम स्कूल के इम्प्रूवमेंट्स के लिए, लाइक हमारे स्कूल में बेसिक फैसिलिटीज़, वेल क्वालिफाइड टीचर्स नहीं थे, तो हमें महंगी महंगी कोचिंगों में जाना पड़ता था, और काफ़ी स्टूडेंट्स के पास उतने पैसे नहीं होते कि वो महंगी महंगी कोचिंगें जा सके। अगर वो उन्हें वो एजुकेशन उनके स्कूल में ही रीज़नेबल इनमें मिल जाए तो काफ़ी अच्छा होगा, ताकि वो बच्चे जिनके पास पैसे नहीं है या फाइनेंशियल कंडीशन अच्छी नहीं है वो भी कॉम्पीट कर पाए उन बच्चों से जो महंगी महंगी कोचिंगों में जा सकते हैं, और वो भी अपनी लाइफ को इम्प्रूव कर सके।
हर्ष, थैंक यू हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। थैंक यू फॉर शेयरिंग योर स्टोरी। गुड लक। Okay, we're taking you now from two very, very inspiring stories. First, we had Dr. Shraddha, who showed you what it was like to stay fit at 80, to be able to jump from a plane. Her son saying it was very much her fitness, her yoga, her core strength that allowed her to do that so successfully. Then we showed you young Harsh, who again, through just sheer perseverance, sat through class 11, sat through class 12, the hardships of studying while sick, and now he's in IIT. But now we take you to something entirely different. It's weekend, and that means it's time to tell you a little bit of a showbiz roundup. There's a storm over Diljit Dosanjh's casting choices. There are also obviously shocking twists in the investigation for Shefali Jariwala's untimely death. A Hera Fairy controversy. Our colleague Titas brings you the lowdown. Take a look.
Hello there. Let's take a quick look at the week that was. Naseeruddin Shah, who recently came to Diljit Dosanjh's defense amid backlash over casting Pakistani actor Hania Amir in Sardarji 3, has now deleted the Facebook post in which he addressed the controversy. In his now deleted post, he referred to the recoil as politically motivated targeting. His words led to criticism from Indian Film and Television Directors Association President Ashok Pandit, who accused him of using the issue to vent out personal grievances. Diljit is also facing calls for a boycott from the Federation of Western India Cine employees for sharing screen space with Hania. New developments in Shefali Jariwala's untimely demise have now emerged, suggesting that she may have taken a vitamin C IV drip just hours before her death as part of an ongoing anti-aging treatment she had been following for the past 7 to 8 years. In an interview, Shefali's friend Pooja Ghai defended the practice, explaining that such infusions are common, especially in the entertainment industry. The police are currently investigating the ingredients and dosage of the IV drip and medication consumed. The exact cause of death is yet to be officially confirmed. Months after Paresh Rawal announced his exit from Hera Fairy 3, he has officially rejoined the cast, restoring the trifecta with Akshay Kumar and Sunil Shetty. In a heartening twist, producer Firoz Nadiadwala revealed that the reunion was made possible by Sajid Nadiadwala and Ahmed Khan, who personally intervened to resolve creative and interpersonal differences between the team members. As per reports, in May, Akshay's production company had sent a legal notice to Paresh asking for Rs 25 crores in damages after he exited the film, as he did not feel like being a part of it anymore. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the organization behind the Oscars, has extended membership invitations to 534 new individuals from around the world, including several Indian artists such as Ayushmann Khurrana, Kamal Hassan and Payal Kapadia, among others. The Tamil superstar received a warm congratulatory message from Tamil Nadu CM M.K. Stalin and Deputy CM of Andhra Pradesh Pawan Kalyan, who hailed him as a true master. Ayushmann, on the other hand, received a shout-out from his peers Rajkumar Rao and Guneet Monga Kapoor. It's time for K-pop fans to rejoice as BTS is officially coming back. They'll return with a brand new album in spring of 2026 and an international tour visiting fans across the world. The announcement came during a surprise 30-minute live stream featuring all 7 members: Jungkook, V, Jimin, Suga, Jin, J-Hope and RM, together for the first time since September 2022. BTS had last toured nearly 4 years ago and attracted over 4 million attendees globally. Since then, the group has been on an extended hiatus to pursue solo projects and fulfill mandatory military service in South Korea. That's all for this week. I'll see you soon.
And now let's take you to what you can do with your weekend. So what do we mean when we say that? What are the big screen blockbusters, the binge-worthy OTT, maybe things that you can catch in person this Friday? Well, Kaveri is going to bring you the lowdown. Kaveri Gupta with our ultimate weekend cheat sheet. Take a look.
Hello everyone, I'm Kaveri Gupta and you are watching Thank God It's Friday, your ultimate weekend guide. You know the drill. Friday is here and so is your entertainment fix. So let's dive right in. First up, hitting the theatres is Metro in Dino. Get ready for a modern-day roller coaster of urban love stories. Think messy relationships, quiet heartbreaks and unexpected sparks, all set in a contemporary cityscape. This one's got all the feels. Next is Jurassic World Rebirth. Yep, the dinos are back again. After decades of Jurassic adventures, we're getting another chapter. It's gripping, it's gigantic, and it's definitely going to keep you on the edge of your seat. Dinosaurs never go out of style. And now for my fellow homebodies, let's look at what's new on OTT. At number 1, Thug Life. After a much controversial run in the theatres, this one is on Netflix. Kamal Hassan teams up with Mani Ratnam for this gritty gangster drama. On number 2 is The Hunt, the Rajiv assassination case. This one's intense. It's a docuseries revisiting one of India's biggest political tragedies. Expect deep dives, never seen before footage, and chilling recreations. This one is streaming from today on Sony Live. Also dropping today is Karidhar Lapata, starring Abhishek Bachchan. This one's about a lonely middle-aged man struggling with memory loss. And suddenly, life takes a turn. Emotional, raw, and surprisingly hopeful. This one's streaming on ZEE5. And don't miss The Good Wife. Priyamani plays Tarunika, a lawyer turned homemaker whose quiet life flips upside down when her family is hit by a major scandal. Legal drama meets family tension. Catch it on Jio Hotstar today. Now, if you're heading out, I've got some fun events too. Mika Singh is bringing the party to Gurugram. Catch him live on July 5. And if laughter's your vibe, Anubhav Singh Basi is performing tomorrow at the Kedarnath Sahani Auditorium in Delhi. Don't miss it. And that's a wrap on this week's Thank God It's Friday. Whether you're headed to the theatre, binge watching at home, or grooving to live music, there's something for everyone. I'll see you next Friday. Until then, stay entertained and have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.
All right, next we bring you a special section on financial markets powered by Money Control Pro. It's Money Control's premium destination for investing and business insights. Let's take a look first at the markets in overview. GIFT Nifty trends indicate a positive opening for Indian equity indices today. Asian shares were up but moved in a tight range as tariff deadlines next week loom. US stocks ended sharply. This is up on a strong jobs report and gains in tech shares. Crude oil prices gained as US job reports showed economy is strong and could sustain robust oil demand. Let's take you now to sectors. We're taking a look today at the housing finance sector. It is an evergreen investing theme in a populous nation like ours. The sub-segment that is catching attention is affordable housing right now. It is lending to the bottom of the pyramid essentially. This part of the market retains growth potential. It offers attractive returns. Lenders are using tech to achieve a twin objective of growth and better asset quality. But you can log into Money Control Pro to find out more about India's housing finance sector and various other actionable insights on the market. It's the premier destination for all investing views and financial insights that you're ever going to need. Brought to you by Money Control. We're going to head into a quick break now.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Trinidad and Tobago, and Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago Bissessar welcomes him in Indian attire. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Trinidad and Tobago early today on the second leg of his 5-nation tour, marking his first official visit to the Caribbean nation as Prime Minister. He was warmly received at the Piarco International Airport in Port of Spain with a ceremonial welcome and a guard of honor. CNN News 18 Siddhant Mishra joins us this morning. Siddhant, could you walk us through the importance and significance of this meeting?
Well, this visit of Prime Minister Modi to Trinidad and Tobago is very, very significant. As we were discussing before, that 40 to 45% of the population of Trinidad and Tobago is of Indian origins. And in fact, this is the first visit of Indian Prime Minister to Trinidad and Tobago since 1999. The last Indian Prime Minister to visit TNT was late former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Now, Prime Minister Modi has arrived in Trinidad and Tobago. In fact, he was given a very unprecedented welcome at the airport by Prime Minister of TNT, 38 cabinet ministers and 4 members of parliament. They all were present at the airport to welcome Prime Minister Modi. In fact, Prime Minister Modi just addressed a community event in TNT. In fact, we've also been told that TNT has decided to bestow upon the highest honor of TNT on Prime Minister Modi. So as we were discussing before, TNT is also a country from a global south. In the past...
होते ही 15 साल पूरे होते ही हमारी गाड़ी प्रदूषण कैसे करने लग जाती है। आप सबूत दीजिए ना, उस गाड़ी की टेस्टिंग कीजिए। टेस्टिंग क्यों बंद की हुई है? टेस्टिंग करेंगे तो इनका भांडा फोड़ हो जाएगा पूरा।
हमने सीएम को सारी जानकारियां दी हैं कि हमने बता दिया कि हम इसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने में अभी सक्षम नहीं।
Brought to you by... This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Trinidad and Tobago, and Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago Bissessar welcomes him in Indian attire. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Trinidad and Tobago early today on the second leg of his 5-nation tour, marking his first official visit to the Caribbean nation as Prime Minister. He was warmly received at the Piarco International Airport in Port of Spain with a ceremonial welcome and a guard of honor. CNN News 18 Siddhant Mishra joins us this morning. Siddhant, could you walk us through the importance and significance of this meeting?
Well, this visit of Prime Minister Modi to Trinidad and Tobago is very, very significant. As we were discussing before, that 40 to 45% of the population of Trinidad and Tobago is of Indian origins. And in fact, this is the first visit of Indian Prime Minister to Trinidad and Tobago since 1999. The last Indian Prime Minister to visit TNT was late former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Now, Prime Minister Modi has arrived in Trinidad and Tobago. In fact, he was given a very unprecedented welcome at the airport by Prime Minister of TNT, 38 cabinet ministers and 4 members of parliament. They all were present at the airport to welcome Prime Minister Modi. In fact, Prime Minister Modi just addressed a community event in TNT. In fact, we've also been told that TNT has decided to bestow upon the highest honor of TNT on Prime Minister Modi. So as we were discussing before, TNT is also a country from a global south. In the past, India has extended help and assistance to TNT in the form of rice consignment sent by India. TNT has also become the first country in the Caribbean region to accept the implementation of India's UPI platform. New agro machinery for food shortage and processing was given to TNT by India. In fact, India also supplies.
Good morning and a warm welcome. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Griha Atul. Let's begin with the headlines first. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Trinidad and Tobago on the second leg of his 5-nation tour. He was greeted with a ceremonial welcome and a guard of honor. Prime Minister Kamala Prasad welcomed him in traditional Indian attire. Custodial death shocker from Tamil Nadu. CNN News 18 has accessed the post-mortem report of Ajit Kumar. Report confirms that Ajit was subjected to extensive physical trauma before his death. Facing mounting public pressure, Delhi government announced that end-of-life vehicles will not be impounded. Environment Minister Sirsa wrote to the Commission for Air Quality Management requesting a halt to the fuel denial directive. India is close to sealing a long-awaited tariff agreement with the United States, with top government sources indicating that talks are in the last leg. Women commuters in Karnataka are urging the High Court to reconsider the statewide ban on bike taxis, highlighting their importance as an affordable, convenient and safe transport option. 4 days after the explosion at Sigachi Industries chemical factory, which killed at least 38 workers, no arrests yet. A case of culpable homicide has been filed and a probe committee formed. Setback for actor Jacqueline Fernandez. Delhi court has dismissed Jacqueline's petition to quash the FIR filed against her in the 200 crore money laundering case linked to alleged conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar. Let's begin with our top focus story. As CNN News 18 has accessed the post-mortem report of Ajit Kumar, the temple guard who died in police custody in Tamil Nadu. Shocking details have now emerged from the post-mortem that has confirmed that Ajit was in fact brutally tortured before his death. The examination revealed 44 external injuries, including deep muscle-penetrating wounds, cigarette burns, multiple deep bruises and scalp contusions. Internal findings have also confirmed brain hemorrhage, indicating severe head trauma that Ajit was put through before his death. We had managed to access that image and the video of which we are putting out, a video that has been clandestinely taken. That also was pretty handy to, in fact, ascertain what must have gone through before, right?